It is a Monday. Just confirm on Discord, on the chat, that I'm live and everything as well. Audio, the feed, all that stuff. Just confirm that as I go through this. But happy Monday. So September is almost done. October is almost here. I looked outside my window. The trees are turning yellow. The leaves. Crazy. Time's passing away. Despite the seasons changing, last night was hot, man. Here in Toronto, it was hot. I went to bed at 1 p.m. Right, that when I usually go to bed at 1 p.m. That gives me 7 hours of sleep. I'm awake at 8 a.m. Right. I went to sleep at 1 a.m. I went to bed at 1 a.m. But I couldn't fall asleep until 6 a.m. That's how hot and humid it was. And mind you, I had my AC on and the fan on me, and naturally I'm just a warm person, but man, I'm so happy that the cold weather is here because I literally spent 5 hours in bed trying to sleep, and that is torture. That is absolute torture. So today I double bagged the green tea in the morning, and then I now have Coke, so that should get me through the day. So hopefully you guys had a better morning and some better rest than I did. Definitely gonna catch up on some sleep later. So let's get started. Dollar index. This is a big week. It seems like every other week we have NFP week, but NFP weeks this week. We have a few days left in September, and then we have NFP on Friday, this Friday. So ADP will be Wednesday, and then NFP will be Friday. So another big day, a big week for the U.S. dollar. We've been bullish since last Monday for the dollar, and we had a nice rally. If you take a look at the current price action, you will see that price might create a head and shoulders. I don't think it will. I think it'll still continue to go up. You can see it pushed up, left shoulder, head. This could be a right shoulder up here. If we do get that, then I'd be cautious, but the overall plan hasn't changed, hasn't deviated one bit. 95 is still the end goal. So this morning, not much has happened. We ended up Friday pretty bullish. Price came back down from Friday moving into Sunday. Came to this low that we made last week at around 94.30. So 94.30. We use that support. We have a lot of wicks. We printed a 4-hour bullish hammer earlier in the London session, and I do think we should go from here back up to the top. If not to 95, at least to maybe this high right here, 94.69 or 94.70. So I'm still bullish for the dollar index. Obviously, things can change once we have ADP news, but for now, we will remain with that bullish bias. And I'm actually going to move this horizontal ray down to kind of respect these wicks that we've created to represent that price action. And so if we do break below 94.18, then we can maybe start thinking about sells for the dollar. But if you look at the forecast for the ADP, they're bullish and the NFP. So ADP, we're looking to add 650K jobs versus the 430K. So obviously you're adding more jobs in the past month. And the unemployment numbers are expected to be better. So if you look at the unemployment change, 900K jobs added, and unemployment rate is expected to drop by 0.2%. So that is pretty good considering before this whole madness started, the unemployment rate was 3.57. 3.5%, right? So not bad. We're in a downtrend. The unemployment rate's in a downtrend, steady downtrend. There hasn't been one hiccup at all. So that's pretty good as we move into October with the debates. I believe there might be a debate this week. I think September 29th. So the debates and the election. So it's going to be a crazy time. Also, Trump's tax returns. So there's a lot of misconception about that. It wasn't his returns. It was more likely a leak from an IRS agent. But it's not his actual returns, not the physical papers or electronic copies. But I think he paid, $730 worth of taxes. The reason why, and a lot of corporations do this, is because he wrote off a lot of losses. So either for his hotel business or whatever other enterprises he has, he's writing off losses, or he's continuously reinvesting that money. So at the end of the day, the net gain is zero. That's the same thing that Amazon does. That's why Amazon doesn't pay any taxes, because instead of like holding a bunch of cash on hand, they reinvest it into a new warehouse, new distribution, whatever it may be, and the books report a zero profit. So there's these legal loopholes that let these major companies, for example, Netflix hasn't paid taxes as well. So there's these legal loopholes that when you have enough money to afford those type of accountants, you can get away with low tax amounts. But that's just the way the tax rules are, and not just in America, even in Canada. But I don't think that had a major effect on the markets. I know Bloomberg was talking about it, but I think for the most part, a lot of the people with finance backgrounds understand that this isn't a rare occurrence. I believe think the top 1% in the U.S. pay 70% less taxes than the average person because of these loopholes, right? So bullish should be a bullish week for the dollar, but obviously a lot can change. Usually Mondays are our wait and see days anyways, but for now I'm going to remain to the bias from last week and be bullish. In terms of percentages, because I like to kind of give numbers, I'd say 70 bullish, 30 bearish, just because it is NFP week. If there was none of those events this week, I'd be 80% bullish, but this is what I am for the dollar this week. This is pending, right? Status pending. Obviously, if new information comes, we have to make new analysis and predictions, but that's what we have. So let's check out, for example, euro dollar. So euro dollar, I held a small position over the weekend, 25%, looking for further downside, and that had a deep retrace, but it's still back into profit. So yesterday, Sunday, I was in some slight drawdown, but back into profit now, which is fine, right? It's a small position. My stop loss is at entry, so if anything happens, at worst case, I'll probably lose 5 pips of profit. But I do think this will continue down. This is just a pullback. A lot of weird price action and pullbacks happen from Sunday to Monday. That's why I don't really trade those days in general, but you can see that happen here. I don't think we're gonna, reverse from here. If we do, it's probably gonna be a deep retrace, but I don't think a trend reversal is gonna happen anytime soon. But it's all depending on the dollar, right? That's NFP week, and so sometimes we're gonna have a choppy week, especially due to NFP, and other times it'll be crazy. So I'm hoping we get the latter. So look at the daily candle. It's a bit of a mess. The last few days, including ending off last week, have been a bit messy. Indecision. And this is kind of turning into indecision, maybe inverted hammer. Obviously, the sell-off momentum has kind of died down. I think you can partly say maybe to the Trump's returns, or maybe just because it's NFP week, and this will definitely be an important release because the debate, I believe the first debate, and I think Jay sent article, is on the 29th, right? So that is tomorrow. So, if the employment numbers come out good this week, Trump is going to rave about it. And if they're bad, Biden's going to talk bad about it. So definitely going to be, the markets are definitely going to be more fundamentally driven from moving forward. I think we're out, let's see how many days we're out. I think we're about 35 days out. So election day is November 6th. 38, 39, just to say 40 days out from election day. So all the markets, crypto, Forex, commodities, stocks, will be affected by that, the debates, the leaks, the scandals, whatever. So the markets may die down, right? It tends to happen around election time, very similar to how the markets die down during December when not every trader's on holiday. But we shall see. Still bearish on this pair. I think most people closed out for Euro, but I do think we still have some momentum. If you look at the weekly closure, we had a pretty decent weekly closure. You can see that huge candle. I don't think this candle is going to be voided anytime soon. I think we're going to have maybe a decent retrace, but that downtrend is still solid for Euro. I did get an alert for Euro Yen. I'll look at GU, then look at Euro Yen. Maybe Euro Yen can give us some entry right now, or maybe later today. So GU, another great short that we got out just in time because consolidation, right? So here was the first short we took, and then we kind of just let this thing consolidate because it wasn't really doing much. And we were waiting for price to break out below this consolidation. Obviously, that didn't happen. Instead, on Sunday going into Monday, this thing broke out. And this is a concept we covered quite a lot. When you have a volatile pair, whether it's gold, oil, silver, exotic, or just pound pair in general, usually it will break out in the original trend. But either way, there's going to be an impulse move. So when it breaks out consolidation, you're going to get momentum. And usually you can ride the momentum for at least 30 to 60 pips. Obviously, this is probably 180 pips swing right here, but when something consolidates, it's just building up contracts, it's just building up volume before it completely blasts off in either direction. Usually, it's in the trend of the original idea, but this is what price action tends to do. And if you look at gold, it's very accustomed to doing that. So GU, if you look at the overall trend, it's known to do this, even though it's been in a downtrend, right, from start of September. This is a pretty clean downtrend right here, but there are instances of a deep retrace and then a sell-off. That tends to happen with GU. You just have to understand that that's how price action moves for this pair. You can even see it on the weekly time frame. For example, you have these deep pullbacks before price completely crushes, and it's just how price moves. It's not going to be clean higher highs and higher lows. It's going to take various kind of forms and patterns. If you look at the weekly time frame in general, GU has kind of died down the momentum. After this huge sell-off, we've had 3 weeks of not really much movement for GU, right? GU is known to have these deep pushes in either direction. This is consolidation on a wide scale. Now, this could mean, maybe the markets are waiting for that election. Who knows? But this looks completely different than how EU looks, right? EU still looks conceivably a short, right? This still looks bearish. The momentum's there. We saw the dying of buyers, the reduction of buyers here, and then price sold off. But GU just after the sell-off, it just calmed down, right? It really just slowed down. That's one of the reasons why we have this line here. And so GU, we're just gonna have to wait and see. I don't like these deep retraces. I also don't like how we ended off last week where the volume just died, the sell-off just died. Usually in regular conditions before 2020, we'd have this sell-off play out, right? But we're not in regular conditions, and this upcoming election is just adding more fuel to the fire. So we spoke about this. Here's a consolidation right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days of nothing until we finally broke out on the 6th day. Here's another example of a full week consolidation, right? And then price breaks on the original trend. Here's another example. Then price breaks on the original trend. Here you have some weeks where you're just not really doing much in terms of GJ standards. You're used to these nice trending moves. If you look at price action from, let's just choose 2018 for example. Clean trends, while they're going down or they are going up, right? And if we're ranging, the ranges are pretty respected. Like if you look at this range, it's pretty respected. There's a couple trade entries you can use in here. And when you break up the range, you have a sell-off again, right? Nice clean sell-off, no deep retraces in this sell-off at all. And then when you get that huge deep retrace, you know that the trend is shifting on you, and now we're in an uptrend. So we're doing the best we can, right? So we've kind of reduced the volume to increase the accuracy, and I think that's a fine trade-off. it comes at a good time where the volume is going to decrease anyways, and that's going to be benefiting our hand where we're being very selective on our trades. So let's look at EJ, since there may be a trade idea, so we're still waiting. So here's another example of consolidation. So my alert got active, but obviously price hasn't closed below this level to take the short. Last week we had a nice sell-off, well, at least the week before we had a nice sell-off, but then last week we had consolidation, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 days just doing nothing. Price is just resting at this level. That's why we've drawn it. If price closes below that level, we'll have a short. So for the pairs that I'm looking at, and the strategy that we're interested in, there's not much happening right now, at least in terms of my kind of thought process. We just have to wait for something to give, and I would rather have something to give on the bottom to go short than for a possible long, since we're going against the trend and the general sentiment. So Euro Yen, I'm gonna put that same alert because all price did, if you look at the 4-hour time frame, all price did, and this is again why I don't trade Sundays. So it's actually Fridays, so that's why I don't trade Fridays, Sundays, or Mondays. Fridays after 12 p.m. I want to be out of all trades. And you can see Friday we had a nice inverted hammer closure, right? And then the market's closed, and then Sunday opens. This is why you don't want to enter trades on Friday, right? Obviously, Friday at 12 a.m. during London session is different. But once Friday afternoon comes around, get out of the market, secure your profits. And so we had this inverted hammer. Now, if it was any other day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, this would have been great to go short. But because you entered on a Friday, you would have held over through the weekend. Trump's tax returns come out. Who knows, whatever happens in the markets. And then Sunday, you open up the pushback up. And the reason for this pushback up is because of Euro's pushback up, right? So we had an entry, but you have to be selective about it, right? So we know the days not to enter, right? Friday after 12 p.m., Sunday, and Monday. Monday, I usually, kind of decide on my kind of, intuition, whether to call the trade or not. But those, Friday and Sunday, I don't like to trade those days. I think IT has a similar opinion on those days as well. There's not much to do. There's a lot of fake outs, and this is best practice to sit on your hand. So Euro Yen, it's just come back to this consolidation box. Let's see what it does. Hopefully it comes back down and breaks it. Otherwise, we're in for a long waiting week. And I think the only time this will break out is on ADP or NFP. So we shall see. But I'll put the same alert I had last week, which is I think 122,500. And maybe you can get a break again. So I'm going to do some pair recommendations and then end off the session. So let's get to it. Tomorrow they will discuss the Supreme Court and COVID-19. You want to shed light on what do you mean by that? Ever since the George Floyd stuff, I've been kind of turned off by the U.S. news and media, so I'm not really following it too much, other than what Bloomberg shows. But if you can shed light on the Supreme Court stuff, let me know. So dollar Swiss, pound Kiwi, and Euro Kiwi, awesome. So dollar Swiss, let's get to it. So dollar Swiss, so we had a long bias last week. We got out in profit Friday morning at I think 7 pips because we didn't really trade Fridays, and we knew we could always re-enter on Monday. So since then, prices kind of sold off. We understand why, the dollar index, but it still looks pretty good in my opinion. We may be due for a retrace if this turns into a shooting star. So price could come back to our entry point, and we can look for longs again. So it comes back here, maybe retest this old high, then we go long again. But we're bullish on the dollar, right? So we should be bullish on this as well. We just have to wait and see if we get that retrace. I think that's going to be the best bet, to wait for that retrace. Price to pull back to 0.92400 and then push up, right? Because if a shooting star prints right here and then we have bad news on Wednesday with ADP, then we're stuck in a trade we don't want to be in. But we will see. We have a whole day of Monday, which we usually wait to kind of figure the setup out. But I'm leaning towards long. So, something like this. Right? 4.0 R2R. Pretty decent. I think it's actually better than our R2R from last week. So, not bad. So that's what I see for USD CHF. And I think I don't want to say that we should probably go with a reduced position, but I think for this pair we should, just because the downtrend has been so significant that I don't know if we should really go for that counter trend. I mean, we've been in a sell-off for a while now, right? So for us to really go for that reversal, we have to be really, really sure about that. If this week's NLP numbers are really good, then for sure we can take this on. Otherwise, we'll go with a 0.5% risk. Next up, you had pound kiwi. So our last short for this was absolutely amazing. Kudos to whoever joined. Let's see what happened since then. So pretty much price action happened, right? We came to this low, we used that support, and we rallied. Let's see where price can go. Let me move these intraday levels. Obviously, it looks like a long. We'll see how long, though. Check out the weekly. So the next target point for pound NZD is probably this level right here, 1.98650. I think that's where price is headed next. Now, we're obviously dealing with the intraday level right here. This is a previous significant high, and also a significant swing low before we went up on a rally, and that's at 1.96300. So right now we're reacting to that level. If we can get a break above that level and it's bullish, then we can maybe take that long, right? So you can see right now we're printing a bearish hammer at that level, which is a good sign. It's a pullback candle. For example, here we had a bearish hammer, then price surged up. So the best thing we can do is wait for some bullish reaction here and for us to clear that high we made earlier today, right? And that high is at 1.96950. So if we clear that high on the 4-hour time frame, then I'm going to take that long, most likely. Again, so what I'll do, it's not financial advice. Totally recommend you do your own analysis. But if this trade setup seems right for me, I'll definitely enter it. Yeah, the R2R is pretty good, so the stop loss will be below the recent low we made right here, and that's not bad at all. So we'll target this high, right, and then if anything above that happens, then most probably this next key level. Let's see how that looks on the weekly. Yeah, it looks good on the weekly, so you can see the levels we're targeting. This is a major resistance. Definitely, we have a lot of weeks spent capped by this level. So definitely price action could be pulled to go there. Alright, so pound NZD, let me put an alert above that level. So my alert will be at 1.97000. So it's 1.97000. Okay, so let's see what happens. Looks pretty good. I mean that support came in, that swing low came in really nicely. So I'm gonna say a bullish bias for now, unless things change. Euro Kiwi, let's go. I think Euro Kiwi will emulate pound NZD. Let's see. Similar. So let me remove some of these intraday levels really quickly. We had a lot of consolidation for this pair in the past few months. Alright, so actually Euro NZD doesn't give off that same vibe actually. This may turn into a short. This is probably because the Euro is looking bearish, right? We're definitely having trouble clearing these highs. If you want to draw a resistance zone, here it is. We have a resistance zone here with the high at 1.78800. So we're obviously having trouble getting higher, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks that were capped under this blue resistance zone. So that's definitely a bit of a worrying sight for those that are looking to go long. If we just go to the daily, I'm pretty sure actually the 4 hour, we can probably identify a possible entry short. So yeah, if we were looking to go short, all we have to do is clear this significant low right here, this low we made right here. But we are looking to push back up. So if we do get a break above this high, we could potentially take it along with this being a first target and this being the second one. But I don't know, this is not giving the same vibes as Pound NZD. Pound NZD is continuously making new higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. This has made a higher high, higher low. This could be a lower high and then make a lower low. So Euro NZD, you know what? I just wait for price to cross 1.78800. At that point, if I get an alert, I'll see how price action looks and give us some insight. But this looks completely different to how Pound NZD looks, right? So for the Pound NZD, right, Pound NZD looks way more bearish. I mean bullish. So I'd say if you're gonna be looking to take a long against the New Zealand, this would probably be the best bet. All right, so I think that's everything. We're right at the 20, 25, 26 mark. It's perfect. So if there's anything else, send it on Discord, and let's have us a great week. Okay, traders.